Hello everyone, welcome to this new video on this channel. So guys, in this video we are going to talk about class 6 history NCERT important points which are like important from the exam point of view, though the direct questions are not asked, but there are certain facts which can be there in the exam, and it is important for you to know those facts so that you can crack the questions. Okay, that is the first thing. Second thing is that you need to develop an analytical thinking, so it will help you to develop that. And the third thing is that when you will read the higher classes NCERT or a standard book like R.S. Sharma for ancient India, then the enough understanding from the basic level should be there. Okay, so the classics history and NCERT will help you to like work on all these points which I just said. Okay, so if you wish to watch more videos, you can subscribe to the channel. So now let us move ahead. So I am going to discuss very important points from the chapter 1, only the very important points. When I say very, it means the facts which are important for the exam, and second thing, the analytical thinking which you need to develop, or the points which are necessary. Okay, so first of all, the chapter 1 of classics history NCERT tells us that uh, the cultivation of crops like wheat and barley was started in the region of Suleiman and Kirthar hills. Okay, so first of all, it gives you the information about two crops, that is wheat and barley, which were grown in Suleiman and Kirthar hills. Then it tells you that it was done 8,000 years ago. Okay, so now these facts are clear. Now the next thing which chapter tells you is that the rice was also grown, and rice was grown in the Vindhyas region, that is the central India. Okay, so this was the second point, or you can say information which chapter gives us. Okay, then the third thing is the chapter also tells us that the agriculture was developed in the Garo hills, which was in the, you can say, the northeastern part of India presently. Okay, then another thing which chapter tells you is what is the meaning of subcontinent. Okay, so we often use this term subcontinent, but we hardly know its meaning. Like, what does a subcontinent mean? Okay, so continent is a large mass of land. Okay, when we say subcontinent, that means a small patch of land as compared to the continent. Okay, so when we talk about South Asia and the countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, okay, so they constitute Indian subcontinent, you can say. Okay, so they together constitute a subcontinent, though they are smaller in size as compared to a continent, but still we call them the subcontinent because like they have a lot of physical relief features. For example, if you look at India, it has mountains also, plateaus also, desert is there, then there are islands also. Okay, so it has a lot of physical features. Second thing is that the subcontinent is separated by hills, seas and mountains. Okay, so that's why we call it as a subcontinent, you can say. So another thing which chapter tells us that what is from where does the term India come? Okay, so the word India comes from the river Indus. That is the first thing, and it is called as Sindhu in the Sanskrit. That is the only fact you need to remember. Okay, then another thing is the name Bharat was used for the people who lived in the northwestern part of territory, and this word Bharat is also mentioned in the Rig Veda. This can be asked as a factual question, that from where that term Bharata has been taken, or from where it has been mentioned for the first time. So the answer is Rig Veda. Okay, so another thing which chapter tells you is what are inscriptions. So inscriptions are like the written text, but they are written on the hard surface like stone or metal. Okay, so that is the only thing. Then it tells you some technical information also, like what is AD and what is BC. Okay, like we do the classification of history based on the basis of timeline, so we divide the dates on the basis of AD and BC. Okay, so the events which took place before the birth of Christ, we write BC along with them. But now the things have changed. Okay, we don't call it as before Christ. Okay, we call it as before common era. So now it's BC E, and the things which take place after the birth of Christ, we call it as common era, that is CE. Okay, so this was some technical information which chapter conveys you. Another technical thing which chapter tells you is that what is meant by the process of decipherment. Decipherment means that the inscriptions or the written text from the historical uh, evidence which we collect, okay, so those languages are actually unknown to us. So when we try to read those languages based on certain techniques, and then that process is called as the process of decipherment. Okay, another important thing is that Rosetta is a town on the north coast of Egypt. Okay, so here an inscription was found, and it has three different languages and script. Okay, so this particular script mentions about the name of kings and queen who ruled this land, etc., etc. This is not at all important for your exam. Why I have written this is because you know that maps are becoming important in the competitive examination these days. Okay, and they generally tells you to match the city with in like city in the country which they are located. Okay, so Rosetta is a town in Egypt, so they might ask you it as a match the following kind of question. Okay, so that's why I have written this. Otherwise there is no, like you can say, important fact which should be known. Only the location of city should be known, so I have shown it on the map here also, you can see. Okay, so it is in the Egypt. Now let me show you some other things on the map. So the Indian subcontinent which we were talking about, these are the neighboring countries except China: Bhutan, Nepal, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar. These all are the part of Indian subcontinent, you can say. Okay, then apart from this, Garo Hills we were talking about, right? Where the agriculture was being developed. So it is somewhere here in the northeastern region. Then the Kirthar Hills and the Suleiman Range, that is here in the northwestern part of India. Okay, so when you do map work, mark these points, because uh, these are important, because these are mentioned in the NCERTs, though they rarely ask this, but they might ask, so you should be knowing. Okay, so that is the only purpose. So now let us move to the chapter 2. So in chapter 2, first of all, the important thing for you to remember is the important archaeological sites. Okay, what they do is uh, they'll write a statement like this: which of the following are the Paleolithic sites? Okay, and you will have to select the correct options, like option only 1 and 2, only 1 and 3, or all of these, etc. This kind of questions they ask. Okay, so now we are doing the classics and history NCERT, so we are going to understand it from the basic. Okay, so the classics history NCERT tells you about the basic sites of Paleolithic times. Okay, so Paleolithic means the period which was initially there. Okay, like the oldest stone age, you can say. Okay, so stone age has been divided into three parts. The first one is Paleolithic, second one is Mesolithic, and third one is Neolithic. Okay, so here Mesolithic is not mentioned. Here megalithic is mentioned. Okay, so I am telling you what is a Mesolithic site, or what is meant by a Mesolithic site, or what is Mesolithic period. So first of all, let us understand what is the Paleolithic site mentioned in the book here. So Paleolithic site, Kurnool Caves, Hunski and Bhimbetka, these three are mentioned. Okay, so if in case the question is asked, just remember these names. Then Neolithic sites: Payampalli, Halur, Daujali, Harding, Mahagada, Koldiva, Chiran and Mehergarh. Okay, Mehergarh is very important. There is a case study also. If you will read NCERT, you will find a case study about Mehergarh. Okay, though the questions won't be asked from this, but Mehergarh is slightly important. Okay, so read about it. And apart from this, megalithic sites like Adichanallur and Brahmagiri, these are also important. Okay, so megalithic uh, as a topic we will deal while doing the history optional video. Okay, so that will be uploaded on the channel very soon. Then the chapter tells you that natural caves and rock shelters are found in the Vindhya and the Deccan Plateau region, and places where stone was found and where people made tools are known as the factory sites. How do we know this? Because we have found the remains, right, when we produce something. So the raw material is left which is not used. Okay, so we have found that kind of raw material which was used in the process of making something. Okay, so we have like labeled those sites as the factory sites. Then stone tools were probably made using two different techniques. First is the stone on stone and the other one is pressure flaking. Okay, so they might ask you about this. I'm going to show you like uh, how does this look. Okay, on the next slide I will show you. Now first of all, let us complete the facts. Okay, so the Paleolithic period extends from 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. Okay, so this timeline is very broad and it will help you to understand certain things. Just remember this. Okay, although this won't be asked in exam, but remember this in your mind. Okay, then Paleolithic is further divided into three uh, periods, you can say: the lower Paleolithic, middle Paleolithic, and upper Paleolithic. Okay, when you will read class 11th NCERT, uh, the older NCERT, old syllabus NCERT, that mentions the different characteristics of lower, middle, and upper Paleolithic. Right now, we are not dealing with it. Okay, but we will deal with it when we'll do those videos. Then, 12,000 years ago till about 10,000 years ago, there is a period called as Mesolithic period. Okay, and the stone tools found during this period are generally tiny and are called microlith. Okay, microlith means small tool. Then the next stage starts from about 10,000 years ago and it is known as Neolithic age. And the other information which chapter gives us is that ostriches were found in India during Paleolithic period. We have found certain evidences. Okay, so there is no need to go into much details about it. Just remember the fact because they might ask in the Paleolithic period like what kind of animal traces have been found. So when we will do the higher classes NCERT, we'll look at some more. But for now, just remember the ostrich. Okay. So let us see the image of maps now. So these are the sites which we were talking about on the other slide. For example, Kurnool Cave, Hunski and Bhimbetka. So here you can see Kurnool Caves is mentioned. Okay, then Bhimbetka is here and Hunski is also there. Okay, similarly other sites like Hallur, Brahmagiri, Payampalli, Adichanallur, which was mentioned, Koldiva, Mahargarh, Chirand, Burzahom, Mehergarh is also there. Daujali Harding is there as you can see. Okay, so important caves are mentioned on this particular slide. Then we were talking about the techniques of making tool. Like this is stone to stone tool technique. Like this stone is being hit on this one and then a small kind of stone is being produced, you can see. Okay, the other one is the pressure um, pressure flaking technique. Okay, I have mentioned here. So this is pressure flaking technique. Okay, so how this is done, that is not important for you from exam point of view, but if you are curious to know about it, you can watch some video on YouTube like how these two techniques were done. You might find some animation videos and I will give you in the description if you want. Okay, like I'll give you the in the description the videos of these two techniques, although they are not important, but if you are curious then you can see those videos. Okay, so let us move on to the important points from chapter number 3. So the chapter 3 is a short one, you can say, or we just have to cover few points, so let us do it very quickly. So around 12,000 years ago there were major changes in the climate of world, and it like became relatively warm as compared to the previous times, and it led to the development of grasslands. That is the important point. That's why I told you that remember the timeline of Paleolithic period. Now we are talking about the period of 12,000 years ago. That means we are about to enter the Neolithic time. Okay, then the chapter tells you that domestication began about 12,000 years ago, and this domestication which took place was in the Mesolithic period. Though some people say that it began in Neolithic period, but NCERT has mentioned this. Okay, so the domestication is basically a process in which people grow plants and look after the animals. Okay, for example, the plants we grow, we domesticate them, right? Then The chapter tells you about the Mehergarh, which we had just spoken about. Like it is an important site, as I had told you. So let us discuss few points. Okay, so Mehergarh is located in a fertile plain near Bolan Pass. Okay, Bolan Pass location can be asked. Okay, just remember this because they might ask you the location of Bolan Pass. Okay, though all the passes are important for your exam. Okay, so remember these exams because they tell you to arrange these passes from west to east, sometime east to west. Remember these. Okay, so Bolan Pass was an important route to Iran. Okay, so this was all about chapter 3, guys. And if you have something to ask, you can ask in the comment section below. And when we will move to the higher classes, NCRT, this will help you to like grasp the things very, very quickly. So I hope that you have noted down some important points from this video or some important facts which you might find here and there in your exams, and it will help you to crack the questions. So thanks for watching this video, and if you have any question or something, some kind of guidance is needed, then you can ask me in the comment section below. Thank you.